That was the most epic death I've seen in this series, period. Like, that was insane. The way, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen episode 21 already, the way Shinji died in this episode, oh man. The guys at Ufotable were like, yeah, let's give Shinji an epic, scary, painful death. Like, they must hate him so much as we do, that they were like, you know what? We're gonna kill off Shinji in a way that he deserves to die. We're gonna just make him the vessel of the Holy Grail. Not only that, we're gonna explode his body. We're gonna make his body grow pimples and just... Seriously, go back to that ending, okay? Close your eyes, put on your headphones, and just play the audio. Oh my god, the audio, the voice actors... I felt like I just didn't want to watch because it was that graphic. I will say, for those of you who have seen Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, or even the original, the moment when the hands came out of Shinji's body, that looked very similar to Full Metal Alchemist. And then those hands kind of went in there and devoured Shinji. So it was kind of making a connection to that series. Maybe the guys at Ufotable are big fans of that series, which I am as well. Just pointing that out if you haven't seen that. But anyways, it has no relation to the story, just to the art style. Anyways, moving on from that epic death. So I kind of called that out already. When freaking Gilgamesh was coming, okay, when he made his appearance at the very end, talking to Shinji, and Shinji was like, you're such a stupid scumbag. What is the... I'm like, dude, you're talking to a servant who does not care about you at all. He does not care about you. On top of that, he's Archer. And Archer, he can survive for many days without his master. Now the thing is, Shinji doesn't know that. Shinji doesn't know that the Archer class can do that. So he was just like, you know what? You can't survive without me. I'm gonna treat you like... No, it doesn't work that way, boy. And now you're gone, you're dead. Congratulations. Moving on to the death of Archer. I will say the death of Archer was very similar to the way he died when he was human, when he was still in the human world, before he became a heroic spirit. You saw, well, technically he got hanged, but before that he got stabbed by like 3 swords. And the way he got stabbed by Gilgamesh was the same way, like 3 swords, which is funny because he's coming in and he's trying to prevent Shirou, okay, Emiya Shirou, from becoming the heroic spirit that he is and making the same mistakes. But he didn't do that. Instead, he recreated his own death by coming here, which was very interesting to see the irony of that. Now, let me talk, before I talk about episode 20 and the other deaths, let me talk about the way Shirou defeated Archer. Archer deliberately allowed himself to get stabbed. And let me explain why. I'm sure many of you have already noticed this, but for those of you who didn't, when freaking Shirou was running, you saw that slow motion, and at the same time, Archer, he grabbed his sword and he held it. He held it, waiting for Shirou. So he could have easily just stabbed and cut. He could have defeated Shirou so easily. He even said at some point in the episode, he was like, if I just make a step back or a step forward or do maybe the little dodge, I could have killed him easily. He would have been gone, dead. But he allowed himself to get stabbed. Now the question is, why did he allow himself to get stabbed? Especially since the whole reason why he's here is because he wants to kill his Shirou. The thing is, when Shirou and Archer were having their discussion and their exchanges when they were fighting and all that, Shirou made it pretty clear to Archer that he's not gonna be just like Archer. He's not gonna end up. He knows his path, he knows his future, he knows his ideals. Maybe they're wrong, maybe he's gonna end up like Archer, but at the same time, because Shirou knows the way Archer ended up, Shirou isn't gonna allow that to happen to him because he knows his future. He's gonna be able to modify it while keeping his ideals the same, and the fact that he will become a heroic spirit. So he's gonna continue to fight, continue to do what he's gotta do, but he will not become a pawn for people. He will not become a contract killer. He's gonna skip that step. He's gonna skip the mistakes that Archer did, which is why he doesn't think he's gonna have any regrets after he's gone. That's what makes him different than the Archer that we know. Now, throughout this fight scene, Archer understood that, and he was like, you know what? If Shirou is right and his promise of not making the same mistakes as me is different and it's true, then perhaps I shouldn't kill him. But at the same time, you know how Shirou is, therefore Archer is the same. Once they're stuck into a goal, they just go for that goal, and they don't give up on that. Even if they know they're wrong, they just continue. Their point of views don't change because they're so stuck to their decision. And once they make a decision, they kind of stick with it. The thing is, Archer was having that internal battle as he was fighting Shirou. He was like, maybe I should let him live. And I'm just saying, this is what I think he was going through his mind. He was like, maybe Shirou is right, so I should let him live. At the same time, I want to prove that I'm better than him, so I'm not gonna go full out. I'm gonna hold my strength a little bit and just fight him on an equal battlefield, to be fair, to prove that his ideals are wrong and that my ideals are right. But towards the very end, Archer pretty much decided that, you know what, I'm gonna give Shirou a chance. I'm gonna give him a chance to prove that he will not end up like me. If I kill him now, he will never get that chance. But I really feel that Shirou has made his point valid and has put enough evidence and determination that because he knows his future, he will not end up like Archer, which is why Archer allowed himself to get stabbed, so that he can give Shirou that opportunity. Now, so now you kind of understand what's going on in terms of that relationship between Archer and Shirou. Now let's talk about some of the things that happened with Shirou. He was able to heal himself. He unlocked this thing called, he was like, I am like my steel, or he says Trey's steel. I don't exactly remember what he said, but apparently he has a connection, even though it was broken, he has a connection with Saber, and that connection has to do something with the Excalibur sword, allows him to heal himself. I honestly didn't understand, so if you do know, please explain it to me in the comments below, because I didn't understand that too well, but I understand where they were going with that. I just don't understand the in-depth or the details of that and how that's possible. But what is understandable is the fact that Shirou is able to hone in every time he clashes sword with himself, with the future version of himself. He's pretty much learning those skills and honing in on those skills and slowly reaching to Archer's level. Now Saber did say, oh, like they're pretty much at the same level right now, but I don't think that's the case, because Archer made it pretty clear by his actions that Shirou did not reach at his level in this episode. Like, yes, Shirou was catching up slowly and was getting stronger and faster, things like that, but he was not at the same level as Archer. He was not, because Archer could have easily killed him and Archer was holding back. Therefore, they were not at the same level. Although Archer should not underestimate Shirou, because Shirou was incredible in this episode. But yeah, it makes it pretty obvious and clear that they were not in the same level. Although I will say, Shirou, the fact that you stood a chance against an Archer, even when Kazuki couldn't stand a chance against Archer. But the difference is, when Kazuki fought Archer, Archer was not holding back, and on top of that, he had more mana than he did just now. He pretty much lost most of his mana, which was pretty much apparent in the beginning of the episode. So moving on from that, let's talk about some other character deaths before I continue talking about Archer and Shirou. Let's talk about episode 20 and the character death of freaking Lancer and Kutonome. I always say his name wrong, but the master of Lancer and Lancer himself. It was pretty obvious that Lancer wasn't gonna die. Like, all the shots were zooming into him when he was laying down on the ground, and that was so satisfying when he came in and he stabbed his master. He was like, "You gonna make me kill myself?" And the way Kutonome died, the way he died was satisfying, because he only had the chance to pretty much say like, "Lancer," and then he fell down and gone. Now Lancer, the way he died, man, such a badass. He was like talking to it in. He was like, put on, girl, if you were a few years older, if you're a few years older, come to me. I don't have any. He admitted that he doesn't have any luck with girls, which is kind of ironic, because I see Lancer as a ladies' man, as a badass, total smooth, so much swag, and the fact that he says he doesn't have, when he was a human, he didn't have any luck with the ladies, kind of surprised me. But at the same time, it kind of shows why, and it kind of explains why Lancer was trying to help Ring in the first place, because that's his type of girl, and he's the type of guy who wants honor and protect the ladies. That's kind of what he wants. So his motives were clear as to why he was so pinned in. It's not necessarily the fact that he liked it in, it's the fact that he kind of wants to have some sort of protection to a girl. Like, it could have been any girl, but it didn't just happen to be the one there that was part of the whole circle of servers, masters, part of the Holy Grail War. So he wanted to protect her in that way, but he didn't have any emotional, like real emotional attachment to her or feelings. You understand the difference? So that's what's going on between that. Now, episode 20, you have to understand, episode 20, the Ufotable decided to skip the opening. They had like a 4 or 5 second screen of the title, the logo, Face the Night, and then straight into the episode. Then episode 21, they did have the opening there. So that means do not overlook episode 20. Episode 20 was definitely important. It had a lot of exchanges between Archer and Shirou, and it pretty much set the tone for the rest of this, of the remaining of the series, of the season, and the remaining episodes. Pretty much is giving us the development of Shirou, the fact that he's able to grow in strength, the fact that he's showing his ideals, his resilience, the fact that he's determined to fight Archer, all that, the relationship between those two characters. That was pretty much episode 20, and it was a very important episode. Episode 21 was also incredible. Okay, also incredible, but episode 20 definitely, you don't forget to focus on that too, and don't skip over that. Now, episode 21, when Archer was fighting Shirou, when Shirou was fighting Archer, pretty much Shirou was kind of able to control the reality marble. And somebody please explain to me why that was the case. Is it because he's kind of fighting himself, and he also has the power, the potential? I'm not sure what it is, but as he was running slowly, stepping, he was also affecting the reality marble that was being controlled by Archer. So that was interesting. Now let's talk about my predictions for the next episode, and also just Gilgamesh. I want to talk about Gilgamesh. Oh, before I get to that though, this is very important. A lot of you have said Phase Zero, you can't watch that. First you have to watch this, then you have to watch Phase Zero, and I was always against that because, from my understanding, Phase Zero is a prequel, okay, and then this comes after Phase Zero. This episode 21, made it pretty clear and obvious that you have to watch Phase Zero before you watch this episode. Because if you're an anime only watcher, okay, and this is the first Unlimited Blade Works, is the first one you've ever seen, and then you're seeing this interaction between Gilgamesh and Saber, how they're going back. He's like, you remember back 10 years ago? Do you remember me? And Saber was like, oh my god, yes I remember. And there was no flashbacks when she cut the Holy Grail in half, and those flashbacks that are happening in episode 21. If you're an anime only watcher, you're kind of like, what the hell's going on? Like, what is they talking about? Who is this Gilgamesh? What type of history and past connection does he have with Saber? What is going on? If you saw Phase Zero, you will understand what's going on. So that pretty much lets us know, Ufotable is letting us know that you should watch Phase Zero before you watch our show. Now, if you don't watch Phase Zero, you can still understand. But if you want to truly understand and truly know what's going on and have a better perspective, you need to have seen the prequel before you see the sequel. And that's, I think that pretty much ends that debate right there. Can you watch Phase Zero? Yes, you can. You can go ahead and watch Phase Zero before you watch this. I actually recommend you go watch the prequel before you go watch this. But if you don't have the chance, the time, that's totally okay. The next episode, I think, is gonna take a little break from the action, because the past 2 episodes have been very high budget, very intense, lots of action and crazy animation. So episode 22, I feel like it's gonna take a step back, a little break, and they're gonna just relax and have more dialogue, more planning between our heroes, and then we're gonna get to see the side things of the vessel that is Shinji and also Gilgamesh plan. So episode 22 is gonna be more relaxed, not so much action, and then episode 23, 24, man, it's gonna be like a part 1, part 2. Which, by the way, episode 20, episode 21 felt like a part 1 and a part 2 to me. And I watched I'm sorry I didn't do a video last week, but I watched both episode 20 and episode 21 today, and it did feel like a part 1, part 2 when you're watching it consecutively, one episode to the next episode. It feels like it's a nice little transition, part 1, part 2. That's just what I felt. The animation was incredible, especially that scene when freaking Shirou was like dodging things. He jumped up in the air and he did this. He looked like Lancer when Lancer had that rematch against Archer. and like just Shirou just impressed me. He really impressed me. He was incredible. I gotta give props to Shirou. Shirou, I'm usually not a big fan of you, especially in the 2006 edition, but in this one, you've proven yourself to be a better character. And even though I still don't I agree with you fully, I respect you as a character who is brave, who is determined and committed to your values, even if his body is broken down. His spirit is never broken, and that's what Archer admits, that this guy, his spirit and his mindset are so strong that he just won't give up. He will not fight. I have to kill him now because he will not give up. Every time I think it's the final blow, it is not the final blow because Shirou is ready to continue. Even if he's tired, he's ready to go. So that was definitely something that Archer said and admitted to in this episode. I will say also, you can tell Archer was losing his cool in this episode because his eyes were like, his eyes were like this the whole time. And normally throughout season 1 and season 2, Archer has been a very calm character. He's always been like this. Who do you think I mean? He's always been very calm, but this is the first time pretty much that we've seen Archer kind of lose it. He's like, even when he was talking, his eyes were wide open, like, yeah. So that was definitely interesting to see. I want to talk about Saber before I finish this episode. Saber, we saw like a split screen between like a more female version, more friendly version, and then the King Arthur, and that's what's pretty much was making the contrast between the two characters. That pretty much Saber has like two characters. She has her ideal self, the one she wanted to be. She wanted to be a girly girl, blah blah blah, but she ended up becoming King Arthur. And on the other side, she's, you know, bloodied up, she's got swords, dead bodies everywhere. So that's the on the left side was the ideal person she wanted to be, and on the right side is the person that she is. Also, Gilgamesh makes it clear, and forgive me if I got this wrong, or correct me if I got this wrong, but Gilgamesh reveals that and this is a very long video, but Gilgamesh reveals that only a master can control the Holy Grail. So the servants cannot have their wish fulfilled unless the master does it for them. So only the master can control that. Also, the Holy Grail was corrupted by the humans, and because of that, the Holy Grail is pretty much like a gateway to hell, and just leaks out a bunch of curses and damage to the earth. Now, Gilgamesh's motive is pretty much just to kill humanity, to destroy everybody, and those who survive, he feels that they are worthy because they lived through the hell. Kind of like the way that Shirou survived that disaster, and he was the only person to survive. In the same way, Gilgamesh, he wants to rule over the remaining people who survive mass destruction and that mass killing that he wants to do if he gets the Holy Grail. And those people that survive, he feels that they are worthy of him ruling over them. Another distinction about the two archers, okay, is that our Archer Emiya Heroic Spirit Archer, his swords are copies of other swords, whereas Gilgamesh, his swords are originals. And so that in that sense, Gilgamesh is a bit stronger. Now, I don't know what's gonna happen in the finale. I don't know who's gonna win, what's gonna happen. Anything could happen, honestly. Don't expect a happy ending. Don't be surprised if there is a happy ending. Because again, this is anime, this is Ufotable, and they are crazy in the head. So, but at the same time, they are amazing. Where do you get the money for this? I am very impressed. Let me know in the comments below. What was your favorite moment of episode 20 and episode 21? What do you think about the Shinji death? I know most of you hate Shinji, but do you still think that that was deserving? Do you think anybody deserves to die that way? That painful death of just blowing up and just being devoured by his own body, or like whatever was going on there? What about Archer versus Gilgamesh fight that's gonna happen? Not Archer, but the Shirou versus Gilgamesh fight that's gonna happen in the future. And what about the current fight of Archer versus Shirou? Do you think that it makes sense that Archer in the last minute kind of let himself get stabbed? So let me know just your favorite moment. I wanna read about it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry I haven't been very active because got a full-time job. I've just been very busy. Things it's just been really crazy, but doing my best to get back into it slowly. You know, we got 8,500 subscribers now, so our community is growing. And also, if you want to send me fan mail, I have set that up in the comments, in the description below is where you can send me fan mail, and then I will definitely open it up and highlight it here on this channel. And I will make a separate video doing like a 8,000 sub special very soon. But in the meantime, I need to catch up to my love story because I'm 2 episodes behind that and I love that series. But this again, Fate Stay. Oh yes, I love Fate Stay.
How about fuck me? No, fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch.